In a revelation that feels more like a thriller than history, the British royal family faces a secret long buried beneath the palace walls. At the center of it stands Princess Kate, confronted with a discovery that could reshape the monarchy's legacy. It begins not with gossip or scandal, but with science, a DNA test. Unlike rumors that fade, DNA technology is precise mapping genetic code to reveal hidden biological connections with undeniable certainty. This powerful tool of modern science has now unlocked a truth Diana herself seemed to anticipate, a truth waiting decades to resurface. The quiet of Kensington Palace was interrupted not by a royal announcement, but by something far more unsettling: an unmarked envelope. Unlike the official correspondence sealed with the crest of the crown, this one bore no insignia, no sender, only a heavy wax unfamiliar to Kate. At first glance, it could have been dismissed as a trivial letter, yet as she touched it, an inexplicable heaviness lingered in her chest, a sense of foreboding she couldn't quite name. Reluctantly, she broke the seal. Inside was a single page titled in bold, "Confidential DNA Report." The laboratory listed was one she had never heard of. Her fingers stiffened, but her eyes continued. What followed were names she recognized too well placed together in a way that defied logic. Then came the conclusion, clinical and unambiguous, a confirmed biological connection. Here technology spoke louder than any whisper. DNA analysis is not speculation. It decodes the very strands of human identity. By comparing genetic markers, repeating sequences unique to each individual, scientists can determine blood relationships with over 99.9% certainty. This was no rumor spun by tabloids. This was the cold precision of molecular science. Kate's pulse quickened. She read the result again and again, but the outcome remained unchanged. The laughter of her children echoed faintly from the corridor, their innocence mocking the storm raging within her. What she held was not simply a document. It was a time bomb that threatened to unravel the monarchy's carefully crafted history. And so, with just one sheet of paper, Catherine found herself standing at the edge of a truth too heavy to ignore, a truth science had brought back from the shadows. Shaken by the document, Kate's mind wandered back to memories she had once dismissed as fragments of curiosity. Years earlier, during a tour of Althorp Diana's ancestral estate, she had seen diary entries displayed behind glass. At the time, they looked like poetic reflections of a troubled princess. But now, in light of the DNA report, those words seemed less like laments and more like encrypted warnings. One line in particular returned to her with chilling clarity. "One day she will know. When she is strong enough, she will see why I could never say it aloud." The words no longer felt distant. They felt personal, as if Diana had written them for her, anticipating this exact moment. Technology, too, gave these old fragments new weight. Handwriting analysis, once limited to intuition, can now be examined with advanced forensic tools that measure stroke patterns, pressure points, and ink composition. Combined with digital archiving, Diana's notes have been preserved and authenticated, ensuring that her voice, though silent, cannot be erased by time. Kate recalled other scattered pieces, the strange silence at dinners. When Diana's name surfaced, the uneasy glances from Charles, even her own dismissal of long-circulating rumors about a secret child. These fragments, once noise, now aligned like pieces of a hidden puzzle. Her breath grew shallow. The past was no longer the past. It was a coded message waiting to be unlocked. Through diaries, letters, and the meticulous preservation of records, Diana seemed to have left a trail across time. With the DNA results in her hands and Diana's words echoing in her mind, Kate realized she was no longer just a daughter-in-law. She was now the intended reader of Diana's unfinished story. Unable to silence the questions rising within her, Kate decided she could no longer remain a passive observer. The DNA report was only a key. To find the full door, she had to return to where Diana's voice still lingered, Althorp, the Spencer family estate. The estate, usually serene with its lakes and long corridors, felt different this time. Each room carried a whisper of the past, every portrait, a gaze that seemed to follow her. Guided by Diana's brother Earl Spencer, Kate was granted access to the private archives, a vault few had ever seen. Inside were boxes of letters, personal diaries, and sealed folders that had been carefully stored for decades. What made these archives even more invaluable was how modern technology had preserved them. Using digital forensics and archival scanning, fragile papers had been converted into high-resolution images. Ultraviolet light could reveal hidden ink strokes, faded words, or erased lines that the human eye might overlook. These scans were stored in secure databases, ensuring no tampering could alter their authenticity. In this way, the past was not just remembered, but digitally immortalized. As Kate sifted through the digitized files, one document froze her. It wasn't addressed to Charles or William. It was marked simply with the words, "For her." The handwriting was unmistakably Diana's, authenticated through forensic comparison of strokes and angles. The letter hinted at a hidden truth tied to bloodlines, urging the eventual reader to seek courage over silence. Standing amidst these echoes, Kate understood that Althorpe was not merely a resting place for Diana. It was a carefully designed archive, a treasure chest where secrets had been preserved until the right moment and the right person arrived to uncover them. With trembling hands, Kate opened the envelope marked, "For her." The paper, though aged, carried Diana's unmistakable elegance. Each curve of the pen seemed alive, as if her spirit had poured directly onto the page. The message was brief but piercing. "When the truth finds you, do not fear. My silence was protection, but your voice must be revelation." Kate's eyes blurred with emotion, but the weight of the words was undeniable. Could this truly be Diana's final directive, written with foresight for her? She needed certainty. Fortunately, modern science had already made that possible. Through AI-powered handwriting recognition, every stroke slant and spacing in Diana's letters has been digitized and cataloged. This technology doesn't merely compare letters visually, it measures microscopic details in pressure and rhythm, creating a mathematical fingerprint of a person's handwriting. The match was absolute. Further verification came through digital authentication systems. Advanced scanners captured the ink's chemical composition, proving it originated in the early 1990s, aligning perfectly with the time Diana was most outspoken in her private writings. No forgery could have survived such scrutiny. The realization struck Kate like thunder. This wasn't just coincidence. Diana had planned for someone to find this, had trusted that technology in the future would confirm her hand and preserve her voice against time and distortion. For Kate, the letter transformed everything. What had begun as a mysterious DNA report was now reinforced by Diana's own words, authenticated with scientific precision. It was no longer about suspicion or whispers, it was about truth, anchored in both emotion and undeniable evidence. As she folded the letter carefully, Kate knew the path ahead would no longer allow silence. Diana had spoken, and now so must she. The letter lingered in Kate's hands like a living flame, both illuminating and dangerous. If Diana had truly entrusted her with this secret, what would happen once it left the safety of Althorpe's archives? The monarchy was built not only on tradition, but also on perception, and a revelation of this magnitude could fracture the very image the crown fought to preserve. Kate's thoughts spiraled into the modern battlefield, where secrets are no longer whispered in corridors, but stolen through digital networks. In today's world, a single leaked file could ignite a global storm within minutes. Cybersecurity experts often warn that no system is entirely unbreakable. Encrypted archives, cloud storages, even royal databases could be vulnerable to hackers or whistleblowers. Once leaked data spreads uncontrollably, copied endlessly across servers and private networks. The risk was not just about truth, but about timing and control. Should Kate reveal the information herself, or would silence leave the door open for others to exploit it? She knew that digital footprints are permanent metadata. Timestamps and server logs could all trace back to her if the documents ever surfaced online. Data leak forensics had become so advanced that even attempts at anonymity often failed, exposing the source. For the first time, Kate realized the paradox Diana had faced: silence as protection versus truth as liberation. Yet unlike Diana, Kate lived in an era where technology made secrets both more fragile and more enduring. What she held was no longer just a private family matter. It was a potential global revelation, one that could be authenticated, broadcast, and dissected with unrelenting precision. Clutching the letter, she whispered to herself, once spoken, there will be no return. The more Kate reflected, the clearer it became. She could not make this decision alone. The stakes had outgrown private conscience and entered the realm of global consequence. If Diana's truth was revealed, it would not remain a royal matter, it would become a digital storm. To understand the scale, Kate quietly sought advice from trusted experts outside the palace, individuals versed not in tradition, but in technology. In a discreet meeting room, analysts explained what awaited her. The moment such a revelation reached the public sphere, AI-driven media analysis tools would immediately detect, amplify, and dissect it. These systems, used by governments and corporations, track viral trends in real time, predicting which narratives will dominate headlines and how they will spread across platforms. A single letter from Diana could trigger millions of reactions within hours, reshaping global perception of the monarchy. Even more concerning was the concept of information warfare. Experts warned her that once the secret entered cyberspace, it could be weaponized. States' activist groups or even opportunistic individuals might distort or manipulate the narrative for their own agendas. Deepfake videos, AI-generated articles, and bot-driven campaigns could twist Diana's words into forms she never intended. Truth, though authenticated, could be drowned in waves of engineered disinformation. Kate listened in silence, her heart heavy. Technology, she realized, was both ally and adversary. It preserved Diana's authentic voice, but also opened the door for distortion on a global scale. As she left the meeting, the weight of choice pressed harder than ever. To speak meant to risk chaos. To remain silent meant betraying Diana's trust. Standing at the edge of history and technology, Kate knew the next step would decide not just her fate, but the monarchy's future. Days turned into sleepless nights as Kate wrestled with the impossible decision. Diana's words echoed in her mind. Your voice must be revelation. Yet Kate understood that in the modern age, revelation was no longer a private confession. It was permanent, irreversible, and global. Her advisors introduced her to another concept of technology: blockchain archiving. Unlike ordinary digital storage, blockchain functions as a decentralized ledger where every entry is verified, time-stamped, and locked across countless servers worldwide. Once information is recorded on the blockchain, it cannot be altered or erased. This technology, originally designed for cryptocurrency, had become a new tool for securing documents and historical records. If Diana's letter or the DNA evidence were uploaded into such a system, their authenticity would be preserved forever. No hacker, no government, not even the royal institution itself could rewrite or delete it. For truth, blockchain offered immortality. But that was also the danger. Once published, there would be no retreat, no negotiation, no softening of impact. The revelation would outlive not only Kate, but the monarchy itself. The gravity of this struck her deeply. In the past, secrets could be buried, letters destroyed, testimonies forgotten. Now technology had created a world where a single act could etch truth into history with unbreakable certainty. Standing at the edge of decision, Kate felt torn between two worlds, one where silence kept peace but betrayed Diana, and another where truth was immortalized at the cost of upheaval. As dawn broke, she realized the question was no longer if the truth should be told, but whether she had the strength to bind the monarchy to an irreversible future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest updates. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.